The massive ship came out of nowhere. One moment the sky above Earth was clear and blue. The next moment, a shadow fell over half the planet. The ship was bigger than anything humans had ever built. It was longer than 100 football fields and wider than any city on Earth. Admiral Daniel Hayes was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started. He spilled the hot liquid on his uniform as he ran to the command center in Geneva. Screens everywhere showed the same thing. A giant alien ship was sitting in Earth's orbit like it owned the place. What the hell is that? Daniel asked his team. Lieutenant Amy Lawson was the first to answer. She was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair and sharp eyes. Her fingers moved fast across her keyboard. Sir, it is not from Earth. The design does not match anything in our records. It just appeared out of some kind of energy field. Daniel felt his stomach drop. Humans had been alone in the universe for as long as anyone knew. They had sent signals into space for 200 years. They had found nothing. Now something had found them. The ship did not attack. It just sat there, waiting. Then the message came. The alien face on the screen was not human at all. It had 4 golden eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its skin was dark purple, almost black. When it spoke, the words came through in perfect English, though its mouth moved in strange ways. I am Ambassador Zyrkith of the Velthari Hegemony. I speak for the Galactic Council, rulers of 10,000 worlds. Your species has reached the stars. This means you now fall under council law. Daniel watched the message with the rest of his team. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The alien continued. All new species must pay tribute to the council. This is how it has been for 3,000 years. This is how it will always be. You have 30 of your Earth days to gather the following: 5 million tons of rare Earth minerals, biological samples from 1,000 of your species, and 1 million humans to serve as workers across hegemony worlds. Amy gasped. Others cursed under their breath. Daniel just clenched his fists. If you fail to pay tribute, Zay just said, your planet will be destroyed. Your cities will burn. Your people will die. This is not a threat. This is a fact. The Council has done this before. The Council will do it again. Comply, and you will live. Refuse, and you will not. The message ended. The room was silent. Daniel picked up his phone and called President Catherine Morrison directly. She answered on the first ring. I saw it, she said. Her voice was calm, but Daniel could hear the tension underneath. Get to my office now. 1 hour later, Daniel stood in the president's private meeting room. The space was filled with the most powerful people on Earth, military generals from every nation, scientists who had spent their lives studying the stars, diplomats who had made peace between countries that had hated each other for centuries. Catherine Morrison sat at the head of the table. She was 52 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. She had led Earth through 2 major crises already. This was different. This was bigger than anything any human had ever faced. Let me be clear, Catherine said. We are being told to hand over 1 million of our people as slaves. We are being told to give up our resources. We are being told to kneel. What do we do? General Nathan Cole was the first to speak. He was a big man with a thick neck and hands that looked like they could crush rocks. Madam President, I have studied their ship. Their weapons are beyond anything we have. 1 shot from their main gun could destroy a city. We have nothing that can touch them, so we give up? Asked Senator Maria Lopez. We just hand over 1 million people and hope they leave us alone? I did not say that, Nathan replied. I said we cannot beat them in a straight fight. Not today. Catherine turned to Dr. Laura Bennett, the head of Earth's space research program. Laura was a small woman with big glasses and bigger brains. What do you think? Laura took a deep breath. They think we are weak. They think we are young and stupid and scared. They have done this to other species before. I think most of those species gave in because they saw no other choice. And us? Catherine asked. We are not most species, Laura said. The room fell quiet again. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Humans had fought each other for all of their history. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars that killed millions. They had climbed out of caves and reached for the stars. They were stubborn and angry and proud. Admiral Daniel Hayes stood up. Madam President, I have served Earth for 30 years. I have fought in 3 wars. I have buried friends and carried wounded soldiers on my back. I did not do all of that, so some purple alien could tell us to kneel. One by one, others in the room nodded. General Cole, Senator Lopez, Dr. Bennett. Every single person in that room had the same fire in their eyes. Catherine Morrison smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. Then we are agreed. Amy, open a channel to that ship. Tell them we will respond to their demand at the deadline. Not 1 second before. Amy Lawson worked quickly. The message was sent. The alien ship received it and did nothing. Ambassador Zykoth probably thought the humans were using the time to gather tribute. He was wrong. For the next 30 days, Earth prepared. Not to surrender. Not to kneel. But to fight. Hidden bases on their mountains came alive with activity. Ships that had been built in secret for 20 years were made ready. Weapons that no one knew existed were loaded and aimed at the sky. Daniel Hayes worked 20 hours a day. He ate when he remembered to eat. He slept when his body refused to stay awake. He thought about his wife and his 2 sons. He thought about what would happen if they failed. But mostly, he thought about winning. On the 29th day, Catherine called him to her office. Tomorrow we give our answer, she said. I want you to know something, Daniel. No matter what happens, I am proud of what we have done. Win or lose, we did not kneel. Daniel nodded. We will not lose, Madam President. Catherine looked out her window at the sky, where the alien ship still waited. No, she said quietly. I do not think we will. The sun set on the 29th day. Earth held its breath. Tomorrow, the galaxy would learn what humans were made of, and nothing would ever be the same again. Commander Greg Palmer had waited 20 years for this day. He stood on the bridge of the orbital defense station called Hope's Vigil, watching the alien ships through his viewport. The station had been built in secret, hidden behind the moon where no one could see it. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could do. All weapons online, his weapons officer reported. Power levels at maximum. Greg nodded. He was 50 years old with gray hair and deep lines on his face. He had spent his entire career preparing for a war that many people thought would never come. Now it was here. Fire, he said. Hope's Vigil unleashed everything it had. Massive energy beams shot through space toward the alien fleet. The beams were so bright they could be seen from Earth. They hit the nearest alien ship and cut through its shields like a knife through paper. The alien ship broke apart. Explosions ripped through its hull. Escape pods launched in all directions. Within seconds, the ship was nothing but floating metal and fire. Target destroyed, the weapons officer said. Her voice was shaking with excitement. Moving to next target. Across the solar system, humanity revealed its secrets. The moon base that everyone thought was just for science had guns hidden under its surface. Those guns opened fire now, sending missiles screaming toward the alien fleet. On Mars, the shipyards that had supposedly been building cargo ships for 20 years dropped their disguises. 300 warships launched from the Red Planet and raced toward Earth at full speed. Each ship was smaller than the alien vessels, but faster and more agile. And on Earth itself, the sky filled with human fighters. Captain Lisa Morgan led the first squadron from the secret base under the Rocky Mountains. Her ship, the Defiance, was the fastest thing humanity had ever built. She pushed it to its limits now, weaving between alien weapons fire. "Stay on my wing," she told her pilots through the radio. "We hit the big one first. Take out its weapons and engines. Leave the rest to the ground teams." "Copy that, Captain," Lieutenant Commander Ryan Scott replied. He was flying right behind her, his own ship dancing through the chaos. "Ready when you are." Lisa aimed her ship at the Eternal Dominion, the alien flagship. It was the biggest and most powerful ship in the enemy fleet. If they could hurt it, the rest of the battle would be easier. The Dominion's guns tried to track her, but she was too fast. She flew along its hull, so close she could see the details of its alien construction. Her weapons fired again and again, targeting the gun ports and engine vents. Behind her, Ryan and the other pilots did the same. Each pass left new holes in the flagship's armor. Each hit weakened the mighty ship that had scared the entire galaxy for 3,000 years. On the ground, Admiral Daniel Hayes watched the battle from the command center in Geneva. Screens showed him everything. Human ships attacking, alien ships burning, cities on Earth still standing, protected by shields that had taken decades to build. "We are winning," General Nathan Cole said. There was wonder in his voice. "We are actually winning." "Not yet," Daniel replied. "The Dominion is still operational. We need to finish this." He picked up his communicator. "All ships, concentrate fire on the enemy flagship. Everything we have, now." In space, Captain Lisa Morgan heard the order. She turned her ship around for another attack run. The Dominion was damaged, but it was still fighting. Its guns were still firing at Earth. People were still dying. "This is for everyone down there," she said quietly. Then she pushed her throttle forward and charged. The next 10 minutes were the most intense of Lisa's life. She flew through fire and explosions. She dodged debris and weapons. She fired until her guns overheated, then waited precious seconds for them to cool and fired again. Around her, other pilots fell. Good men and women who had trained for years for this moment. Their ships exploded in flashes of light. Their names would be remembered forever. But for every human ship that fell, 2 alien ships died. The Hegemony had never faced an enemy like this. They had never seen ships so fast, pilots so brave, or weapons so deadly. Their 3,000 years of easy victories had made them soft. Humanity was hard. Commander Greg Palmer watched from Hope's Vigil as the Dominion's engines finally exploded. The massive flagship began to drift, powerless and broken. Escape pods launched from its sides as the crew tried to flee. "Flagship neutralized," Greg reported. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat." On Earth, people watched the battle through their screens. They saw alien ships running away. They saw human fighters chasing them. They saw explosions in the sky that meant victory. And they cheered. In cities around the world. People poured into the streets. They hugged strangers. They cried tears of joy. They looked up at the sky and felt something they had not felt in 30 days. Hope. Admiral Daniel Hayes allowed himself a moment of relief. Then he got back to work. "Recover all escape pods," he ordered. "I want prisoners, especially their ambassador." 2 hours later, Ambassador Zierkith sat in a holding cell in Geneva. His purple skin was covered in dust and burns. 2 of his 4 eyes were swollen shut. He looked broken. Daniel Hayes walked into the cell and stood before the alien who had threatened to destroy Earth. "You lost," Daniel said simply. Zierkith looked up at him. Even defeated, there was hate in his remaining eyes. "This changes nothing. The Council has 10,000 ships. You destroyed 27. They will send 100 next time. 1,000. You cannot win." Daniel crouched down so he was at eye level with the alien. Maybe, maybe not. But here's what I know for certain. You came here thinking we would kneel. You came here thinking we would break. You were wrong. He stood up and walked to the door. We are going to let you go, Daniel said. We are going to put you in a shuttle and send you back to your council. And you are going to tell them exactly what happened here. What message should I deliver? Zarkith asked. Daniel turned back one last time. Tell them that if they want tribute from Earth, they are welcome to come and try again. But tell them to bring more ships. Because 27 was not enough. He left the cell. Behind him, Zarkith sat alone with his thoughts and his fear. 3 days later, a single shuttle launched from Earth. It carried Ambassador Zarkith and a recording of the battle. The recording showed everything. Human weapons, human ships, human courage. The shuttle disappeared into hyperspace, carrying a message to the heart of the Galactic Council. Earth had said no, and Earth had made it stick. On the ground, President Catherine Morrison addressed the world. She stood in front of a giant screen showing the stars. We have won the first battle, she said. But this war is not over. The Council will come back. They will come back with more ships and more weapons. And we will be ready for them. She paused and looked directly into the camera. Because we are human. And we never give up. Around the world, people listened. Soldiers prepared for the next fight. Scientists worked on new weapons. Engineers built new ships. The galaxy had learned something important today. Humanity was not a species that knelt, and the galaxy would never forget it. Ambassador Zarkith stood in the grand hall of his ship, the Eternal Dominion. The room was built to make visitors feel small. The ceiling was so high you could barely see it. The walls were covered with images of conquered worlds. Each picture showed a different species kneeling before the Galactic Council. Zarkith had added 47 pictures to that wall himself. He was proud of every single one. His aide, a young Valkyrie named Kothra, walked up beside him. Ambassador, the humans will send their response today. Shall I prepare the tribute collection teams? Zarkith made a sound that passed for a laugh among his people. Yes. Make sure we have enough transport ships. 1 million workers will need a lot of space. Do you think they will resist? Kothra asked. They always think about resisting, Zarkith said. In the end, they always kneel. The Kefmari thought about resisting. Now they mine ore for us. The Aurelians thought about resisting. Now they build our ships. Humans are no different. He walked to a large window and looked down at Earth. It was a pretty planet, he had to admit. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. It reminded him of his homeworld before the Council had stripped it of resources 1,000 years ago. They are young, Zarkith continued. They have only been in space for 2 centuries. They do not know how the galaxy works. They will learn. The deadline arrived at exactly noon, Earth time. Zarkith stood before his communication screen with his hands clasped behind his back. He had done this so many times before. He knew exactly what would happen. The humans would cry. They would beg. They would ask for more time. And then they would give him everything he demanded. The screen lit up. President Catherine Morrison appeared. She stood straight and tall, wearing a simple dark suit. Behind her stood military officers in uniform and leaders from every nation on Earth. Zarkith noticed that none of them looked scared. Strange. Ambassador, Catherine said. Her voice was steady. Thank you for your patience. The Council is generous, Zarkith replied. He had said this exact phrase to 47 other species. I trust you have gathered the tribute. Our ships are ready to receive it. Catherine did not move. She did not blink. We have considered your demand carefully. Every nation on Earth has discussed it. Every leader has given their opinion. Good, Zyrkith said. Then you understand that compliance is your only choice. We understand what you want, Catherine said. And humanity has prepared our official response. Zyrkith leaned forward slightly. This was his favorite part. The moment when a species finally accepted its place in the galaxy. The moment when their pride broke and they became just another servant of the Council. Catherine Morrison took a slow breath. Then she spoke one word. No. The screen went black. Zyrkith stood very still. Kothra looked at the screen, then at his ambassador, then back at the screen. The room was completely silent. Check the equipment, Zyrkith said quietly. Kothra ran to the control panel. His fingers moved over the buttons. Everything is working, Ambassador. The transmission was clear. There was no error. Play it again. Kothra played the message again. Catherine Morrison appeared. She spoke one word. No. The screen went black. Zyrkith felt something he had not felt in a very long time. He felt confused. In 3,000 years, no species had ever said that word to the Galactic Council. They begged. They bargained. They cried. They never said no. Contact the High Counselor, Zyrkith ordered. His voice was harder now, colder. Tell him what happened. The message reached High Counselor Vethnus on Thesser Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Council. Vethnus was old, even by Velthari standards. He had ruled the Council for 500 years. He had crushed rebellions on 100 worlds. He had ordered the destruction of 3 entire species. When he heard the human response, he laughed. They said no? Vethnus said. His 4 eyes sparkled with something that might have been joy. They actually said no? Yes, High Counselor, Zyrkith replied through the communication link. What are your orders? Vethnus stopped laughing. His face became serious. I have not had a good war in 200 years. The galaxy has become too peaceful, too boring. This will be entertaining. You want me to attack? Zyrkith asked. I want you to burn their cities, Vethnus said. I want you to break their ships. I want you to make them watch as everything they have ever built turns to ash. And when they are on their knees, crying and broken, I want you to ask them again for tribute. This time, they will not say no. It will be done, High Counselor. On Earth, President Catherine Morrison walked out of the broadcast room with Admiral Daniel Hayes at her side. Her hands were shaking slightly, but her face showed nothing. How long do you think we have? She asked. Hours, Daniel replied. Maybe less. They will be angry. Angry enemies make mistakes. They walked together to the command center. General Nathan Cole was already there, watching screens that showed the alien fleet moving into attack formation. 27 ships, Nathan reported. The big one is hanging back. The rest are spreading out above our major cities. Catherine looked at the screens. New York, London, Beijing, Tokyo, Moscow. Every great city on Earth had an alien warship above it. Are our people ready? She asked. Nathan nodded. As ready as we will ever be. Catherine turned to Lieutenant Amy Lawson. Send a message to every person on Earth. Tell them what is coming. Tell them to be brave. The message went out through every screen, every phone, every speaker on the planet. Catherine's face appeared in homes and offices and streets around the world. My fellow humans, she said. Today we told the galaxy that we will not be slaves. Today we said no to an empire that has never heard that word before. They are coming to punish us for our courage. Let them come. She paused. Around the world, billions of people watched and listened. We have prepared for this moment. Our soldiers are ready. Our ships are ready. Our weapons are ready. But more than that, our hearts are ready. We are human beings. We do not kneel. We do not break. We do not give up. The alien ships began to power their weapons. Lights glowed on their hulls. Energy gathered at their gun ports. They think they can scare us into submission, Catherine continued. They think we will see their power and lose our nerve. They are wrong. They have never met a species like us. They do not know what we can do. Admiral Daniel Hayes watched the screens. The alien weapons were almost ready to fire. Today, Catherine said, we show them. Today, we fight. And today, we win. She ended the broadcast. The alien ships opened fire, and Earth fired back. The sky above every major city lit up with light. But it was not just alien light. Human weapons, hidden for decades, came alive. Missiles launched from underground bunkers. Energy beams shot from orbital platforms that the aliens had not detected. Ships rose from hidden bases on every continent. Ambassador SciFi watched in shock as his fleet reported damage. Impossible damage. The humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to be helpless. They were not supposed to fight back. How is this possible? He demanded. Where did they get these weapons? But nobody could answer him. Nobody knew. On Earth, Admiral Daniel Hayes allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy wanted to meet humanity. Well, here they were. And they were not happy. The battle for Earth had begun. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. A young species called humanity had defeated a hegemony fleet. They had said no to the tribute demand. They had fought back and won. On the mining world of Kithra Prime, workers stopped their machines and gathered around communication screens. They watched the recording that Ambassador SciFi had brought back. They saw human ships cutting through hegemony vessels. They saw the mighty Eternal Dominion burning and broken. Old Kethmari elders wept. They had paid tribute for 800 years. They had given up their children as slaves. They had forgotten what freedom felt like. Now they remembered. On Aurelia, the industrial heart of the hegemony, factory workers whispered to each other in the dark corners of their workplaces. The Aurelians had built hegemony ships for 1,000 years. They knew exactly how strong those ships were. And they knew that humans had just proven they were stronger. On 100 other worlds, similar scenes played out. Slaves looked at their masters with new eyes. Workers questioned orders they had followed without thinking. Seeds of rebellion were planted in soil that had been dead for centuries. High Counselor Vethnis saw all of this. From his throne on Desser Prime, his network of spies reported everything. Whispers of rebellion. Dreams of freedom. The name humanity spoken like a prayer in dark rooms. He was furious. Bring me every ship in the fleet, he commanded. Every warrior. Every weapon. I want 10,000 vessels ready to launch within 60 cycles. His generals bowed and rushed to obey. They had never seen Vethnis this angry. They had never seen him this scared. On Earth, President Catherine Morrison knew that time was short. The Council would not wait long before striking back. Humanity needed allies, and they needed them fast. We cannot win this alone, she told her advisors. We beat 27 ships. They have 10,000. We need help. Admiral Daniel Hayes agreed. The galaxy is full of species that hate the Council. They just need someone to show them that the Council can be beaten. We have shown them. Now we need to unite them. Catherine nodded. Who do we send? They chose Ambassador Kevin Wright for the mission. He was a diplomat who had spent his career making peace between enemies. He was calm, patient, and smart. He was exactly what humanity needed. Kevin left Earth in a small, fast ship called the Messenger. His mission was simple but dangerous. Travel to the oppressed worlds of the galaxy. Tell them what humanity had done. Ask them to join the fight. His first stop was Kethra Prime. The planet was gray and cold, covered in mines and factories. The Kethmari who lived there were small, thin beings with 6 arms and large, dark eyes. They had been miners for the Council for 800 years. Kevin landed his ship near the largest mining complex. Within hours, thousands of Kethmari had gathered to see him. They had heard the stories. They wanted to know if they were true. "They are true," Kevin told them. "We fought the Council and we won. They told us to kneel and we said no. And now we are asking you to stand with us." An elderly Kethmari stepped forward. Her name was Elder Sylvia, and she was the oldest living member of her species. "The Council has crushed every rebellion for 3,000 years. Why should we believe you are different?" Kevin looked at her with steady eyes. "Because we are not asking you to rebel for us. We are asking you to be free for yourselves. Fight with us, and you will never pay tribute again. Your children will never be taken as slaves. Your world will belong to you." Elder Sylvia was quiet for a long moment. Then she turned to her people. "For 800 years, we have been afraid. For 800 years, we have accepted our chains. No more." She raised her 6 arms to the sky. "The Kethmari stand with humanity." The crowd erupted in cheers. Kevin smiled. "Wanna lie down." Many more to go. Over the next 30 days, Kevin visited 12 worlds. He met the Aurelians, tall blue beings who had built hegemony ships for so long that they knew every weakness. He met the Thesan rebels, members of the Council's own species who had grown sick of their ruler's cruelty. He met the small, fierce Vulcani warriors who had been conquered but never truly broken. Each species had their own reasons to hate the Council. Each species had their own reasons to fear fighting back. And each species, when they heard what humanity had done, chose to join the war. Back on Earth, Dr. Laura Bennett led a team of scientists studying the captured hegemony technology. They worked around the clock in underground labs, taking apart alien weapons and figuring out how they worked. "Their shields are based on energy frequencies," Laura explained to Admiral Hayes. "If we can match those frequencies, we can punch right through them." "How long until we can build weapons that do that?" Daniel asked. 3 months. Maybe less if we push hard." They pushed hard. Factories across Earth switched from making cars and computers to making warships and weapons. Every person on the planet contributed in some way. Some built ships. Some grew food to feed the workers. Some simply kept hope alive by believing they could win. Engineer Paul Henderson designed a new class of warship. He called it the Liberty-class Dreadnought. It was bigger than anything humans had built before, armed with weapons based on captured hegemony technology, and protected by shields that could stop almost anything. The first Liberty-class ship was named the Unconquered. Commander Michelle Torres was chosen to lead it. She was 40 years old, a veteran of the first battle, and the best captain in the fleet. When she first walked onto the bridge of the Unconquered, she felt something she had never felt before. Pride mixed with fear, mixed with determination. "This ship will lead the fleet," Admiral Hayes told her. "When we face the Council again, you will be at the front." Michelle nodded. "I will not let you down, sir." "I know you will not," Hayes replied. 2 months after the first battle, Ambassador Kevin Wright returned to Earth. He brought with him representatives from 47 species. They gathered in the United Nations building in New York, sitting where human nations had once debated with each other. President Catherine Morrison addressed them all. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for choosing to fight." She looked around the room at faces of every shape and color. Kethmari with their 6 arms, Aurelians with their blue skin, Vulcani with their sharp teeth and fierce eyes. Dozens of others, each one ready to risk everything for freedom. "The Council thinks they can crush us," Catherine continued. "They think we are weak because we are young. They think we will fail because we have never won before. They are wrong. She raised her hand and pointed at the gathered representatives. Look around this room. You are not alone anymore. None of us are alone. We stand together, and together we will break the chains that have held this galaxy for 3,000 years. The room exploded in cheers. Voices in 100 different languages all said the same thing. Freedom. Victory. Hope. Outside, night had fallen on New York City. But in the sky, new stars were appearing. Ships from dozens of worlds, gathering above Earth. The largest fleet the galaxy had ever seen outside of Council control. Hi, CouncilHFY received reports of the gathering fleet. His spies told him everything. The numbers, the weapons, the determination. For the first time in 500 years, he felt something like doubt, but he pushed it aside. He had 10,000 ships. He had 3,000 years of victory behind him. These rebels would be crushed like all the others. He gave the order. The hegemony fleet launched toward Earth. The final battle was coming. The hegemony fleet was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. 10,000 ships moved through space like a wave of death. At its head flew the new flagship, the Eternal Vengeance, twice the size of the Old Dominion. High Councilor Vethnis himself stood on its bridge, his 4 golden eyes fixed on the distant stars where Earth waited. How long until we reach the human system? He asked. 3 cycles, High Councilor, his navigation officer replied. Vethnis smiled. 3 days until he could watch that defiant little planet burn. 3 days until he could remind the galaxy why the Council ruled. But the fleet would not reach Earth. Commander Michelle Torres had other plans. The Allied fleet waited in the Thesan system, right on the doorstep of the Council's capital. Right on the doorstep of the Council's capital. When Ambassador Kevin Wright had visited the Thesan rebels, they had given him something precious. The codes to the defensive platforms around Thesser Prime, the exact patrol routes of the home fleet. Everything the Alliance needed to strike at the heart of the enemy. If we hit them at home, Admiral Daniel Hayes had explained at the War Council, they will have to turn back. They cannot let their capital fall. It is risky. General Nathan Cole replied. If we fail, Earth will be defenseless. President Catherine Morrison made the decision. Then we will not fail. The Allied fleet numbered 3,000 ships. Humans flew alongside Kethmari. Aurelians fought beside Varkani. Dozens of species that had been slaves now stood as warriors. It was smaller than the hegemony fleet, but it was fighting for something the Council had never understood. Freedom. Commander Michelle Torres stood on the bridge of the Unconquered. Through her viewport, she could see Thesser Prime, the jewel of the Galactic Council. Its cities glittered with lights. Its orbital stations bristled with weapons. It had never been attacked in 3,000 years. That was about to change. All ships, this is Commander Torres. Michelle spoke into her communicator. Her voice was calm and steady. Today we do something that has never been done. Today we bring the war to the enemy's home. For too long, the Council has terrorized this galaxy. For too long, they have taken and destroyed and enslaved. No more. She paused and looked at her crew. Young faces and old. Human and alien. All of them ready. Today we fight for everyone who ever said no in their hearts, but was too afraid to say it out loud. Today we fight for the children who were taken and the worlds that were burned. Today we fight for the future. She took a deep breath. All ships, attack. The Allied fleet surged forward. The Thesan defense platforms tried to stop them, but the rebel codes worked perfectly. One by one, the platforms went dark, their weapons silent, their shields lowered. Aurelian ships knew exactly where to hit the enemy. They had built these defenses, after all. Their weapons found weak points that no outsider could have known about. Kathmari fighters swarmed around the larger hegemony vessels, keeping them busy while human dreadnoughts moved into position. The Liberty-class ships were everything Paul Henderson had promised. Their guns punched through hegemony shields like they were not even there. High Council of Vethnis received the news when his fleet was still 2 cycles from Earth. Thesser Prime was under attack. His home world was burning. "Turn the fleet around," he ordered. His voice was cold with fury. "All ships, maximum speed to Thesser." Admiral Daniel Hayes watched the hegemony fleet change course from his command ship near Earth. He smiled grimly. The plan was working. "Send word to Commander Torres," he said. "Tell her the enemy is coming home. She needs to be ready." Michelle Torres received the message as her fleet fought its way toward the Council's palace. Vethnis was coming. She had maybe 8 hours before 10,000 ships arrived. 8 hours to break an empire. "Push forward," she ordered. "Take the palace. End this today." The battle for Thesser Prime was brutal. The Council's guards fought hard, but they were not used to enemies who fought back. For 3,000 years, they had crushed weak, unprepared species. The Alliance was neither weak nor unprepared. Captain Lisa Morgan led her fighter squadron through the streets of the capital city. They had landed troops who were now fighting their way toward the palace on foot. Lisa provided cover from above, her guns clearing paths through enemy positions. 2 blocks to the palace, she reported. Heavy resistance ahead. Commander Greg Palmer brought his orbital station close to the planet's surface, something that should have been impossible. But Hope's Vigil was built for impossible things. Its guns targeted the palace defenses, creating an opening for the ground troops. At 1400 hours, Allied soldiers breached the palace gates. Human Marines fought alongside Kathmari warriors and Verkani shock troops. They moved through halls that had seen nothing but peace for centuries. They broke down doors that had never been challenged. At 1600 hours, they reached the throne room. High Councilor Vethnis was not there. He was still racing home with his fleet. But his throne was there. His crown was there. The symbols of 3,000 years of tyranny were there. A young human soldier named Private Chris Martinez was the first to enter the throne room. He was 22 years old, from a small town in Texas. He had joined the military because he wanted to protect his family. Now he stood in the heart of an alien empire. He walked up to the throne and looked at it for a long moment. Then he pulled out a flag. It was not a human flag. It was a new flag, designed just for this moment. It showed a single hand raised in defiance against a field of stars. The symbol of the Alliance. Chris planted the flag on the throne. Thesser Prime belongs to the free peoples of the galaxy, he said quietly. Then he turned to the camera drones that were broadcasting the moment across every world. We are not slaves. We will never be slaves again. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched. On 100 worlds, the oppressed saw the flag on the throne. They saw the empty seat of power. They saw that the council could be defeated, and they rose. Mining colonies stopped working. Factory worlds shut down. Slave ships broke free of their masters. In a single day, the Galactic Council lost more territory than they had gained in 1,000 years. High Councilor Vethnis arrived at Thesser Prime with his massive fleet. But it was too late. The Alliance had dug in. The planet's own defenses now pointed outward, manned by rebel crews. And the hegemony fleet itself was falling apart. Ships from conquered worlds refused to fight. Crews mutinied against their officers. The great fleet that was supposed to destroy the rebellion was destroying itself from within. Vethnis stood on the bridge of the eternal vengeance and watched his empire crumble. Admiral Daniel Hayes contacted him directly. The human appeared on the screen, tired but triumphant. It is over, Daniel said. Your people are surrendering across the galaxy. Your fleet is falling apart. You have lost. How? Vethnis asked. His voice was hollow. How did this happen? You built your empire on fear, Daniel replied. Fear of your power. Fear of your cruelty. Fear kept everyone in line for 3,000 years. But fear only works until someone proves it is hollow. We proved it. And now the entire galaxy knows that you can be beaten. Vethnis said nothing. Surrender, Daniel continued. End this now. No more death. No more destruction. Just peace. The High Counselor was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. I surrender. The war was over. In the months that followed, the galaxy changed. The Galactic Council was dissolved. In its place, a new Galactic Assembly was formed, where every species had an equal voice. Slaves were freed. Tribute was abolished. Worlds that had been exploited for centuries began to heal. Earth was offered a position of honor in the new assembly. President Catherine Morrison declined. We did not fight to rule, she said at the assembly's founding ceremony. We fought because no one should have to kneel. We will take our place as equals among equals. Nothing more. Nothing less. The other species respected her for this. They had expected humans to demand power after winning the war. Instead, humans asked only for friendship. In the years that followed, humanity spread across the stars. They built hospitals on worlds ravaged by disease. They shared technology with species that needed help. They stood beside any world threatened by tyranny. And everywhere they went, they told the story. The story of a young species that had been given a choice between submission and defiance. The story of a single word that had changed everything. Centuries later, a statue stood in the plaza of the Galactic Assembly. It showed a human figure, arm raised, palm facing outward. The universal symbol of refusal, of courage, of hope. Children from 100 worlds would visit the statue and read the words carved at its base. To those who said no, and to those who found their voice because of it. Humanity had answered a demand for slavery with one word. And that word had set the galaxy free. The stars remembered. They always would.